Hey, I'm AnthonyRomano. Welcome back to another video. This is the best fasting protocol for beginners and advanced users of fasting. Okay, I'm talking about intermittent fasting here, so generally time spans longer than a day, or shorter than a day, but we're going to get into it in this video. I encourage you to like and subscribe. Okay, that's all you have to do to help me grow this page. Let's go. All right, for starters, excuse my Fabio / cheerleader hair. Growing it out for the quarantine, you know how it is. In Canada, it's pretty rough. So let's get into this. What is the best way to start intermittent fasting? Well, what you want to know is you definitely want to fast in the morning. This is something that not everybody really knows the reason why for, but the reason why is because in the morning you're generally going to wake up with lower insulin levels. I mean, you are, because you didn't eat for presumably the last 6 to 8 hours you were sleeping, okay? Unless you sleepwalk, then you're not eating and your insulin's going to be lower. And this is beneficial because when your insulin's low, your glucagon is going to raise and that's going to mobilize fuels. So fat as well, but it's first going to liberate the glucose from your liver and just get more of the sugars, the fuels that you already have into your bloodstream. So when you do this, when you do any sort of activity in a low insulin state, you're going to lead to more fat burn. This is why people say fasted cardio is great in the morning. But on top of that, you also have to realize that when insulin is low, that's going to amplify the fat burning effects of cortisol. So what's going to happen is you are not only going to have, this reciprocal relationship between insulin and glucagon, but what's going to happen is the cortisol raise is going to amplify the fat burning effects because your body sees cortisol as like the opposite of insulin. So insulin's like the most anabolic hormone. Cortisol is like the most catabolic. So cortisol is all about liberating fuels, okay, for emergency situations. And your body perceives a slight stressor of fasting and says, hey, we don't have food coming in. We don't have any anabolic signaling from no food at all and no carbohydrates as well for my keto crowd here, my keto cult here. But the thing is, your body's going to liberate more fuels this way. And it's going to amplify the effects of fat burning for the excitatory neurotransmitters, okay? So adrenaline, noradrenaline. The excitatory neurotransmitters are going to cause even more of a stress response, liberating more fuel. So what's the takeaway for beginners? Well, the takeaway for beginners here is definitely focus on starting by skipping breakfast. That is the absolute best takeaway I could give for beginners at intermittent fasting. Then from there, you can slowly titrate it up and begin skipping breakfast, then lunch, and lengthening that window. Now, don't confuse this as me telling you you have to fast 20 hours a day and only eat 4. Okay, that is a very aggressive OMAD sort of strategy. And granted, even though I do that almost every day, that's something that I just do out of, lifestyle. Okay, I don't force myself to do this. You never want to force yourself to fast. It always should feel instinctual, okay? And you have to have a little bit of that sort of forward-oriented mentality where you're trying to push the limits a little bit, but you always want it curtailed by your lifestyle and you never want to force yourself to do shit you don't want to do. So the point is, well, I mean, unless it's for your own best interest, but you get what I'm saying. It's all about slowly moving up and not taxing yourself more than you have to. In my opinion, intermittent fasting is the best strategy for people to start off making a big change in their health and weight, of course. So for the advanced listeners here, let's get more into how they can start moving towards longer fasting windows. So what you want to do the longer you start to fast is you're definitely going to want to supplement with electrolytes, particularly about a half teaspoon of sodium, so salt, pink salt, good quality salt, and about a half teaspoon of potassium chloride, okay, not pills, chloride, the salt form. Okay, I have links down below for all this stuff. But what is the purpose of this? Well, the original sort of formulation of this was from Cole Robinson, aka Snake Diet, so full credit there. I mean, I'd been fasting for years before I found his stuff, and I did a little bit of electrolyte supplementation, but Cole Robinson really nailed it, so full credit where it's due. But Cole Robinson has people fasting for days and weeks and months on end. So when they're doing that, they need much higher doses of electrolytes. People who are doing intermittent fasting generally don't need them because this is a short-term strategy to minimize appetite and allow you to feel more energy and smoothness of focus. Because when your insulin is low and you're not used to this, okay, your blood sugar starts to drop, and in order to retain more water, your body is going to crank up its insulin and basically try to get you to stop excreting sodium. So, and when you crank up the insulin, your body's going to start feeling a little bit more hungry, right? When it's coming from that lower insulin state and the blood sugar crash, you're going to feel more hungry. So you want to sip on that sort of half teaspoon dose, right? That is my sort of suggested dose for people who are still going to eat in the same day. People who are suggesting fasting for longer than a day, you will need a higher dose, okay? But this is intermittent fasting. You are going to receive some sodium and potassium and minerals and electrolytes from your food later in the day, and the consequence of overdoing electrolytes is you're probably going to go and shit yourself afterwards. So you don't want to do that if you overdo electrolytes, okay? So just trust me, don't get pills. stick to small conservative doses and sip it gently, or just, you know, take a little swig of it, okay, from a little teaspoon or something, half teaspoon. So do those things because you need the sodium and potassium together, because every time you supplement with one electrolyte, you will deplete another electrolyte. And the easiest ones for fasting are sodium, potassium, maybe throw in a magnesium at nighttime. I suggest magnesium threonate is the one that you can dose the highest amounts of without getting any sort of GI distress. So you probably think this whole electrolyte stuff doesn't really matter. Oh, it's salt, it can't do that much. Isn't that going to raise my blood pressure? No, not necessarily. In the absence of carbohydrates, but in the case of fasting, there's no carbohydrates because you're not eating anything, your body needs sodium to retain water, okay? A lot of the blood pressure and sort of hypertension issues come from a high amount of salt and sugar, okay? You can read The Salt Fix by Dr. James DiNicolantonio. Fantastic resource. He's done a lot of studies on so many topics in this field. So again, full credit where it's due. But that's just a good resource for you to go down if you want to go down the rabbit hole. But when we're looking at the importance of this, if somebody's a newbie and you can't even hit 14, 15, 16 hours, use the electrolyte protocol. That will easily allow you to scale to higher amounts. And again, from there, don't force any more than you desire. Just take it as it is and let your lifestyle take the lead. For the advanced users who are hardcore, they're trying to push the limits, then that is where the electrolyte protocol will absolutely help you. And it will not do anything to break your fast, okay? If you just put a little bit of water, some salt, potassium salt, and then even if you want like a stevia sweetener, like a liquid sweetener, use that, okay? Put that in there. It's not going to break your fast, but I do suggest stevia. It is the natural sweetening that is the best, and it doesn't really influence your blood sugar or insulin levels. Some people say sucralose might do that, but sucralose and aspartame and potassium, the artificial sweeteners, they're generally not the best for you on a long-term basis because they're relatively new. Governing bodies will say, oh, they're benign, they don't do anything. But look, like, these are new ingredients. We know how their mechanisms, we know how they work. We know ACE-K causes cancer in rats. We know sucralose is chemically similar to pesticide and it diminishes your good gut bacteria. So dude, or dudette, just please get naturally sweetening if you're going to use that to tolerate the salt drink. That is it for this video, okay? Like it. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube, okay? And leave me some comments. I'll do my best to help you out. If you want to know the best fat burning strategies and get them right away, I suggest keto dieting, and that's why I have on my website the Keto Shred program. This is my Mona Lisa of fat loss. Literally, it's going to skip you right ahead to the promised land, and it will help you get shredded in ridiculous time, okay? And you'll have a generally better time while you're doing it too. But if that's not really your thing, keep watching for more free videos, and I'll do my best to help you out for free as much as I can. Thank you for watching. I'm AnthonyRomano. Peace.